What's going on, everyone? Hope you're doing well today. My name is Qasim, and today I want to share with you all my desk setup. Now, this desk setup is my YouTube filming area. It's my workstation with my M1 Mac Mini, and it's my gaming station with my Xbox Series S. This desk setup is quite unique. Now, before I actually get started, I just want to say anything I mention here, from the monitor to the mounts, anything, it'll all be linked down below. So if there's something you like and you want to add it into your setup, you can simply check the description later once you're done with the video. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to start with the actual desk itself. Now, this desk is quite old. It's from 2009, so going on 12 years, but it's held up really well. And honestly, how much I used to use it before, I use it a lot more since I'm doing so much more stuff at this actual desk. Matter of fact, my M1 Mac Mini was the reason that I actually revamped this entire desk setup. Before that, I had a 27-inch monitor, my MacBook Pro, and I was very limited in terms of use at this desk, except for when I recorded videos. I really love this lighter color. I think it's different and it gives the overall desk a warmer feeling. Another thing I really love about this desk is these side pillars. I really like the industrial look. I like all the holes, and I personally love it. Now, one downside of this desk is that lately I've noticed that it's become a bit smaller for me. I do a lot of product shots on this desk, and when I do that, I just don't have that much room to work with. So eventually in the future, a few months from now, I don't really know when, but eventually I will be upgrading to a larger size desk just because I need a little bit more space to work with when I shoot product shots. But other than that, I love the top shelf, I love the color, I love the industrial look, and I'm really happy with this desk. Now, on the back side of this desk, I actually have a Philips Hue light strip. You can probably see it right over here. So I've ran it along these pillars and downwards underneath the shelf. I love Philips Hue products, and I think that it just gives the space a nice ambiance. And I have more Philips Hue lights here, but we'll get to those in a second. Now, you'll also notice a couple other things like my Apple Wallet and my Xbox Elite controller. Now, the Xbox Elite controller I've actually mounted up with magnet mounts that I sell on my website. I just love the floating look of the controller, and I just set it here when I'm done playing my games. It can charge up, and it just gives it a nice and unique look. Also, because it's metal, you'll also notice at times there's my Apple MagSafe wallet. Sometimes it's the brown one, sometimes it's the black one. But since it's metal, I can just slap it on here. So if I ever go out and I return back home, I just slap it here and just continue working and doing my thing. Now, I've also mounted up two HomePod minis on the bottom shelf. So facing downward, I really like the look of it, especially when you look at it from the distance. You have the two HomePod minis just kind of floating there, looking down. And I think personally, it looks really cool. I asked you guys about this in a YouTube community post, and you guys liked the look, so I rolled with it. Now, next up, let's talk about what's on this level of the desk. So first and foremost, guys, is this LG monitor. Now, I got this recently after selling my MacBook Pro 16. So what I basically did is when I heard about the M1 Mac Minis, I went out, sold my MacBook Pro, got my Mac Mini, and that's when I got this monitor. Before this, I had a 27-inch. I will put the exact model in the description for you guys, but what I love about this ultra-wide 38-inch LG monitor is just how wide it is. I love the ultra-wide aspect ratio, and for doing things like video editing, it's really awesome. Now, it's only a QHD display. I could have gone for 4K, but 4K in this size, it's really, really expensive. Also, in this same monitor, they make two different monitors. One is 70 Hz and one is 144 Hz in terms of their refresh rate. I went with 70 Hz because I thought that that's more than enough for the amount of gaming that I'm going to be doing on this monitor. Now, in terms of the display, I really like it. The colors are accurate, so whether I'm gaming or whether I'm editing my YouTube videos, everything looks great to me. I know I can get a little bit more with a higher resolution display, but this gets the job done, and I've had no trouble whatsoever. Next, I want to talk about the lights that are behind the monitor. So initially when I got it, I had this whole empty space at the bottom. It was just dark, and in order to light that up, I added 2 Philips Hue play bars. So I had them pointed down just to fill in that area with some more RGB lighting. Then when I reviewed the Govee Light Bars, I added those 2 pointed to the sides. So honestly, in terms of RGB lighting, I am good to go. The monitor itself also came with a really nice and sleek looking stand. The only problem I had with it is that it just took up a lot of space. Like I mentioned before, this desk is already small, so having a whole section of the desk being taken up with the stand just wasn't working out for me. Now what I did to clear up a little bit of space on this desk is I got a Vivo mount. What's nice about this mount is that it just clamps to your desk, and you can clamp it in the middle, off to the side like I've done. I wanted to get that floating look and at the same time have more clear space on the desk to just kind of put things like my Xbox controller or my AirPods Max. And now that bottom area of the monitor isn't any longer a wasted space. What I like about this monitor mount is the fact that I can tilt it, I can rotate it, I can move the monitor forward, I can move it back. I've got lots of options. I obviously don't tilt it in portrait mode simply because I have this top shelf and the monitor itself is too big for me to do that, but that's not really a need of mine, so I'm totally fine with that. Now, one of the things I really like about this monitor mount is the fact that it comes with these clips to channel all your cables. So whatever you've got connected, like in my case, I've got connected light bars to the actual monitor. So running those cables, running the cable for the Mac Mini, running the cable for the Xbox, I was able to channel them through the 2 clips. And then you've also got a main clip on the actual base of the monitor mount. So that makes for a very clean and simple setup. Next, let's talk about the M1 Mac Mini. If you saw my review on this one, you know I love the M1 Mac Mini. I had a 16-inch MacBook Pro, which was decked out with specs, but this M1 Mac Mini is a whole nother experience. I really love it. I use it for all of my computer work, and it's been a pleasure to use. It seriously has no trouble doing anything. Now, originally, guys, I had the M1 Mac Mini on one side and the Xbox on the other side. But when I kind of redid this whole monitor stand and everything, I just moved everything to one side just to give it a clean setup. Now, another thing is that you'll notice that I have a plant right next to the M1 Mac Mini. That's because both the M1 Mac Mini and the Xbox Series S are standing vertically, and they have cables running into them. So I'm kind of using that plant to not only hide the hard drive that's connected, but also it's hiding all the cables that are going into the M1 Mac Mini, so therefore it just gives it a much cleaner look. Next, I want to talk about the Xbox Series S. Now, this is one that my wife gifted me, so I got rid of the Xbox One S that I had prior to this. Honestly, guys, for the amount of gaming I do, and this being at that budget price, and a smaller size than the Series X, it's more than enough for me. I've not had any issues with using this Xbox, and I really like the look of both the M1 Mac Mini and the Xbox Series S just kind of standing vertically next to each other. I love the design elements of the actual Xbox Series S, and I think that they go really well together. Now let's move on to the left side of the desk. Now here I just have a plant, and right in front of the plant I have 2 Legos. One is a Minion and one is a Red Stormtrooper. Now I loved Legos as a kid, and so anytime I go out and if I come across a Lego that I like, I usually just buy it and bring it home. And so I've just got them here to kind of remind me of my love for Legos. Now off to the right side is where I have my Xbox Series S original controller. This was a controller that actually came with the console. I don't play 2 players here, and I don't plan on playing 2 players here, but I just have the controller there because I love the look of it. So it just sits there along with my AirPods Max. As far as the AirPods Max, guys, I did a review, I did sound tests. I love these headphones. When I'm at this desk, these are what I'm wearing. Most of the time, I never get to use my HomePod minis. Whether I'm listening to music or I'm editing a video, I've loved the sound quality of my AirPods Max, and I highly recommend these. Like, if you saw my original review, you know how much I love the AirPods Max. Next, we're gonna move on to this keyboard that I have in front of me. I got the Majic keyboard when I first did this setup, and I got the longer one. I got the one with the numeric pad, and that's because I love having the numbers right there for when I need them. And plus, I think that the longer look of it just matches well with the ultra wide monitor. It fills in more empty space over here, so I really like that. Now, this Majic keyboard is really nice to type on. The battery lasts me a really long time before I need to connect it and charge it up. And as far as durability, guess what? I actually had this on this seat right here, and I put it here and I was doing some product shots. And when I got done with the shot, I went to sit down and I almost sat completely down on this Majic keyboard. It actually got bent a little bit, but I was able to bend it right back into shape. So it's pretty durable. Now, next to the keyboard, I actually have the Majic Trackpad. Now, I love this. This is the newer one, and I love just having so much space. When I had the MacBook Pro 16, I was used to that larger trackpad. So when I did this setup, I wasn't sure if I should stick to a mouse, but instead I went with the Majic Trackpad 2, and it's been a great addition. I really love it, and I highly recommend that if you're doing a lot of photo and video work on your computer, or if you just want more space to kind of move and do all the gestures that you're going to be doing on macOS, this is a great addition. Now, you'll notice that underneath these two, I don't have any desk mat. And that's because I like the look of the wood. I like the look of the wood with the color of the Majic keyboard and the space gray Majic trackpad. I honestly love wood when it comes to flooring, when it comes to desks, when it comes to furniture. And because of that, I just don't find a need to keep a desk mat. All right, guys, so let's move to the bottom of the desk itself. Now, one of the things that I love about the bottom side is just this metal beam that goes across. Not only does it hide all the cables that are on the back side, but I've utilized it in a pretty cool way. For starters, when you look underneath the desk, you'll see two hard drives mounted. So those are mounted with those same magnet mounts I talked about earlier with the Xbox Elite controller. So what I do is on one of those drives, I keep all my product shots. So when I'm shooting the 12 Pro, the 12 Mini, a keyboard, a monitor, any kind of product shots I do, they all go straight into one of those hard drives. And then the other hard drive has a final video copy of each of my videos. So that hard drive I use for that. Now, on the other side of the metal beam is where all the Majic stuff happens. The power strips, the cables, all of that. So for cables, I didn't use a cable tray. I just have them zip tied, and I like the fact that they're kind of hidden right behind the beam. So it's not like you look under the desk and all you see is a bunch of cables. So I've just zip tied them and organized them neatly. Everything kind of comes from the right side of the desk. So it comes down and it's just hidden behind that beam and just zip tied and organized. For some of the cables that are going across to the other side of the desk, I have used wire clips. So that helps me to organize the cable running from one side to the other and keep it hidden at the same time. Now, on the back of the beam itself, I've mounted, using those same magnet mounts, I've mounted a power strip, a second power strip. I've mounted the power supply for this monitor and my USB hub. Everything except for my microphone that's up top here and my SSD, everything else is connected into that hub. So both the other hard drives, my printer, all that stuff comes through the actual USB hub. And that too, I have mounted up. So you can see that I'm utilizing all the metal areas with those magnet mounts to just kind of keep things organized. And what's nice about that is that anytime I have to pull off a power strip, it's not like I have to pull off the adhesive or anything. I just pull it off and put it back into place when I'm done. So for me personally, this is a lot easier of a setup. All right, so let's move to the top shelf of the desk, the part that you guys don't ever get to see. So on this top shelf, if we start in the left, again, I've got a few Legos. So one of the Minion Legos and then one just construction truck because I think life is always under construction. And behind that, I have an Airwick essential oil dispenser. So this kind of just keeps everything nice and fresh. I've got a lavender scent in there and I really like it. It gives this area a nice vibe. Also on the top shelf is where I have my Polar Pro light chaser kit for the iPhone 12 Pro. Now this has a bunch of lenses and the case, so when I do need them, I have them right there in front of me so I can quickly grab them. I often use the case and grip handle, so those two are right there in front of me and I can just grab them up and take off for the day. So I just keep them right there in front of me. Now in the middle of the top shelf is where I have this older ring light. So I got it when I started YouTube and I never ended up using it. So what I've done is I've actually just set it flat and it just kind of beams upward. And this plant that you guys see here, it's sitting in the middle of that light. So it gives it a nice cool little look. I don't like the two down lights that are above the desk. They're very distracting, especially if I have things a little bit brighter. So having this ring light, I've just run the cable along the side of the desk and I have the power switch right there. So if I need additional light to fill up when I'm working in this area, I can just power it on and I'm good to go. Now to the right of the top shelf is where I keep my printer. This printer is what prints all my shipping labels for me. So anytime I get an order, if you've ever shopped from my online store, then this is where your label got printed. So I take them with me when I'm ready to head out to my storage area. Also on the top shelf is my Blue Yeti microphone. I've mounted it with a desk clamp and the Blue Yeti microphone is really awesome. It's right outside the frame, right up here. You guys don't see it, but I love the sound quality I get from this. I've used it since day one and till this day, I've not had a need to change it. I've run the cables again down the side of the desk and it's hooked up directly into my Mac Mini because I record the audio and video separately and then I merge the two later. Now what's nice about this desk clamp is that it has this little hook at the bottom where you actually screw in the clamp, and that's what I use to hang my Xbox wireless headset. That's what I use when I'm gaming. I really love this headset. Not only is it comfortable, but I love the design. I love the aesthetics of it. It really matches with the Xbox design itself. Alright guys, so that is my desk setup. I really hope that you like this setup as much as I love it. You know, this setup at some point is going to change, but I honestly have a special place in my heart for this setup, simply because this is where I started making my YouTube videos and it has a lot of sentimental value to me. So even if I get a larger desk, I'll always cherish this desk setup. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. A lot of the things I've mentioned here today, I've done reviews on. So if you're new to my channel and you want to know more about like my M1 Mac Mini or the Xbox wireless headset, you can find those reviews here on my channel. And what I'll do is things that I've talked about, I'll link them all down below. Thank you so much for your time today. Let me know what you guys think of this setup down below in the comments. And most importantly, guys, take care of yourselves and I will see you all in the next video.